We do have Mr. Deji, the chairman of the PDP in Lagos. He's joined us now. Good morning again, and thank you for joining us today on the program. So, well...
Good morning, Timberlane.
All right, now...
And good morning, viewers.
This matter concerning your party, it appears your party is now between the rock and the hard place. How do you see events playing out? Because, looking at how all of this is going now, you have an October date rather than a December next date. So how do you see all of this eventually playing out?
Well, I'm sure your question is centered around the little misunderstanding in the People's Democratic Party right now. Is that correct?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we did attend the NEC meeting, the 92nd NEC meeting, called by the NWC of the party sometime last week, and we also had all the state chairmen meeting well before that, which was a pre-NEC meeting. And there was a BOT meeting before that, and there was a Governors Forum meeting before that. And I believe that the reconciliatory structures of the party have started meeting in order to resolve this problem. Now, unfortunately, the night before the NEC meeting and after the NEC, when nerves had been calmed and different orders have been, different players in the crisis had been met with. Unfortunately, another order came unexpectedly, and I believe that order was already gotten before the reconciliatory meeting took place. So it was put out in the social media somehow, and it did have a damaging effect on a lot of things that we had already discussed before that day. But I believe that immediately that came up, all the machineries came back together again to try and diffuse that particular action that was carried out by one of the players of the crisis. So I believe that within the past 48 hours, 72 hours, I believe that a lot of meetings have been held, and a lot of changes are going to be made. A lot of withdrawals from court are going to happen, and I think we'll get back on track very soon.
Well, you sound quite confident, and I'm sure you followed the conversation all through the program this morning, and some of our guests have said, well, 30% of the problem comes from maybe the judges, another percent from lawyers, and they probably didn't speak for political parties, because essentially it's the political parties that approach the courts through their lawyers to get some of these orders. You have also been enmeshed in that as well. Perhaps we'll come to that. But I just want to know the thinking, because it's fair to have the side of political parties as well. The thinking of political parties when their internal mechanisms to be exhausted, as it were, and they go ahead, go to courts, get these orders, conflicting orders from courts of coordinate jurisdiction, and they leave INEC, the people, confused. What's usually the thinking? What spurs political parties or members to go this route?
Well, unfortunately, you have the good, the bad, the ugly in politics. I can admit that. If you look into the dictionary or the encyclopedia and you look for the word the devil, I'm sure you see the name of a politician there. It's embarrassing. You understand? Because this is a new trend in politics. It's a new trend where you can win, instead of you looking at the ballot box for you to promise the people what you can give them, for you to campaign and send out your manifesto. A lot of people now believe that politics, the two ways of winning is if you don't win at the ballot box, you win in court. And now politicians have taken it mile into the political structure itself, the party structure itself, the administration of the platform you want to compete on, or you want to stand on when you want to achieve your political aim. This is a very dangerous. It's a very dangerous scenario that is playing out politically in all political parties, and it must be stopped. Now, how can this be stopped? It must be stopped by the judiciary. However, we have, if you recall, the McCarthy and Sheriff matters. We had gone through, PDP had gone through litigations for almost 3 years. And it created havoc in the party. The division in the party at that time is what we're even still trying to manage as a party today. So, if at the supreme level, it has already been stated at the supreme level, at the supreme judgment has said that political parties' internal mechanism, internal administration is not the business of the judiciary. That has already been stated. There are many mechanisms to address your grievance. And if you look at democracy is such that even in a political party, you might not have the view, you might not have the same views. So definitely there will be some winners, there will be some losers, but nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to lose, and that is the scary part. They even go to the point of death, they go to the point of killing, they go to the point of doing all kinds of things. And why are they doing that? It only shows that the politicians do not have the people at heart.
So if I get you correctly, Mr. Doherty, so if I get you correctly, you say that, well, the solution lies with the judiciary. You also say that the judiciary, I mean, it's well known that the judiciary doesn't have any business with internal party affairs, as it were, yet the solution lies with the judiciary. So maybe I'd like us to learn or glean from your own experience. You said that some people win at the ballot, some win at the courts. The whole controversy around the chairmanship of the PDP in Lagos, I mean, has it been resolved? Are you now the chairman, as it were? Did you get it via the courts or via the ballot? I think it's instructive to at least lay that out so Nigerians can, of course, learn from that.
You see, this is a part of what we're talking about. Okay? Now, in Lagos State, in 2018, Ebiola Feso, who was the chairman of Southwest, okay, saw a need for there to be an election in Lagos because the sitting chairman, which was Alhaji Salvador, left the party and moved to the APC. Now, Salvador moved to the APC, and immediately that happened, this gentleman, Dr. Dominic, was more or less appointed from the same zone by a kangaroo set of people. Unfortunately, I was even at that meeting. I didn't have an agenda. Chief Olabode George was the one that called the meeting. He called a meeting of leaders of the party to a meeting, and at the meeting, before you knew it, Dominic was already said to be nominated as the chairman. And some of us stood up and said, look, you understand, it's not the state ESCO that has nominated Dominic. However, because of the courage of Chief Olabode George, because of his position, you understand, they took it up to the national, and the national rejected it. But the national said, okay, let Dominic stay for 90 days while you go and conduct an election, because everybody in Lagos is asking for an election to be conducted to replace Salvador. I took part in that election. And because I took part in that election, okay, and other people took part in that election, I won the election. And I became the chairman. I was the chairman for several months before Chief Olabode got up again with the help of another Southwest governor to go to court to ask for my removal.
So
Now,
okay, understanding this premise, as it were, how do we now factor in that court judgment? Because, I mean, you also said it, that maybe the solution lies at the court. And you recall that suit number LD3600 GCM 2019, where the court, that's Justice Oyekon Abdullahi of the Lagos High Court, was ruled that in the sum, the case of the claimant succeeds completely, and the special Congress held, I think you referenced that November 13th, 2019, was set aside, and there was no vacancies in the first place, which, I mean, essentially said that, I mean, the claimant is the rightful chairman of the party.
well, he did not say that. If you read further down, you will notice that she said that she would like the party to go back and go and do the correct thing. Now, a lot of people I can go to court and tell the court, you slapped me. And I want the court to restrain you from coming to my house to slap me again. And the court will do so. You understand? Unfortunately for those that took the party to court, I am not a party to that case. I, Engineer Adeditu Duarte, as the state chairman of PDP, is not a party to that case. So definitely, you cannot put a judgment on me when I'm not even a party to the case.
All right, Mr. Duarte. Okay, pardon me on that one. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens on your NEC meeting, which is coming 2 months earlier than scheduled. Will it settle all of these challenges faced, and where will the chairmanship be zoned to, which will ultimately determine where the presidency will equally be zoned to within the party. So those are all the dynamics that we're looking to see how that will play out. But we do thank you for your time this morning, Mr. Deji Duarte, Chairman of PDP in Lagos.
Thank you very much. Thank you.